Hello there, I'm Helen Sadler, your Destiny Helper, coming to you once again. First of all, as always, I would like to appreciate my new subscriber. Thank you so much for joining this YouTube family, and those of you who have already subscribed and you are supporting faithfully this channel. I want you to know that I appreciate you so much, and thank you for the many emails that you all are writing stating how this is assisting you to grow, to heal. And those of you who are in freedom and growing in that, I want to thank you for every email. I appreciate it. And because they are so copious, I will be getting back to many of you because there's thousands of emails that you are sending, and I appreciate them. Thank you so much. And one of the emails was reading, talk about the covert narcissist. I don't understand them. When I think I understand them, they change on me. Why is that? The covert narcissist is a very subtle narcissist that change. They're like chameleons. They come in and they're not overt. They're very charming. They're very soothing in their voice. They're almost hypnotic in their voice. They're love bombing. They seem very caring. They seem very tender. They seem to be into you more than the other narcissists. The danger is they are covert, they're covered. And a lot of times, many people are married to these type narcissists for years, and they don't know that they are married to a narcissist. They have questions about their behavior because they say things and they don't keep them. They're easily offended, and many times they are often insecure. They need a copious amount of assurance and admiration. They feed on it. They require it. They even do fake tears and they apologize, but they go back and do the same thing that they apologize for. They're very jealous. They're very insecure, as stated before, and they lack confidence. And many times you walk in the shadow with the narcissist because much of the time you are feeding their insecurity. So you can't be who you are because who you are intimidate them tremendously. And when you intimidate them, they often ghost you. They start disappearing. They start fading out. They get real quiet. And they seem like they're really hurt by what you did, and you're trying to understand what you did. They cannot handle the strength of you. They cannot handle the power of you. And many times a covert will end up with this powerful individual, and this powerful individual is crushing because they are very accomplished. Because a lot of times the covert narcissists live out of their imagination because they want to be bigger than what they are. And when you get them and they are very wealthy, they always have this sad story that they attach to themselves to bring you in emotionally to them. And they always play the victim. No matter what you do, they always play the victim. And you encourage them. The more encouragement you give the narcissist, the more encouragement they need. And finally, when you think you have resolved the issue, you have not resolved the issue. They still triangulate, and a lot of times these coverts will use sexuality as a means of control, and they use that. They're very unfeeling it. They're very robotic. If you notice, it's like when you kiss them, it's like kissing an android. And they are very unfeeling, but they are not hostile in their behavior, but they are very grudgingly in their behavior. They say undercurrent things that are very demeaning, very hurtful. And the narcissist can be very vengeful when you make them angry, and they don't stop until they get back at you. And many times you go into a public place, oh my God, they're the life of the party. They're charming. They laugh. They seem like they give way to the conversation. And the next thing you know, they've taken over the conversation. Everybody laughs with the narcissist. And if they're out, everybody serves them because they're so charming. And you are looking at them because on the way to the party, on the way to the meeting, on the way to the church, they was telling you how crazy you were and how they don't like what you do, and you're trying to figure out, what did I do? And they keep telling you what you always do, but they never tell you what you always do, because what you always do is serve them. What you always do is try to please them, because you walk around on eggshells. You never ever show your true self because they can't handle your true self. So you learn to live in the shadows with the narcissist. And the shadow is an indication that the real thing is there. But the way the light hit that person, it casts the shadow. So you stay in the shadow because you have learned after so many years, so many months, that they cannot handle the weight of you. So you tiptoe around their relationship. And when you're with the children, you learn not to, when the narcissist is there, to separate the amount of attention you give the children, and then you give the narcissist, the covert narcissist, the attention. And the covert narcissist, he can rage, but when he rage calculative. He doesn't just rage loudly. He comes in for the juggler, with thinking, with intent, and there's always this little smirkishness about them. And so you learn to downplay who you are because you cannot maximize yourself with the narcissist. So at home, you another person. And then one day the narcissist see you on the job and you're in charge. And I mean, you are willing and you are commanding and you are strategic and you are intentional. And the narcissist watch you, and in his eyes, in her eyes, is so much hatred until you can't believe that this is happening. And you are saying, what is this? Everything I do for us. The money I make for us. And you find yourself, even when the narcissist has money, the narcissist always somehow want to talk you out of what you get. They save theirs. And there are many narcissists, in many cases I've dealt with. There are multi-millionaires that are narcissists. He has millions of dollars and he starts a project and he will not spend his money. He will make all those he triangulate give into his project, including the main supply, which is the wife or the husband, give into the project while they save up their money. And they use their money, so when they're triangulating, they're buying this gift, or through triangulation they get the supply to buy the gift they want to give, that is going to give them brownie points with the supply that they're triangulating. They're they scheme and they scam, and they're very manipulative. And a lot of times you don't know that it's a narcissist because they're not overt, they're not loud, but you can read their eyes when they're looking at you, that they're saying, I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to make you pay because you're successful. That's not your success. That's my success. And that belongs to me. And you took it away from me, and I'm going to take it back. And whatever you do is never, ever enough. The narcissist, I don't like this food, and he sits at the table and eats the whole plate, wipe his mouth, and said, that was the worst dinner I've ever had. And you ask, why did you eat it? I only ate it because I did not want to disappoint you. You see how much I love you, until I would eat that crummy food just so I won't disappoint you. And then you always talk about how I think of myself. I don't think of myself. I think of you, or I would not have eaten that crummy food. And then you overhear him talking to someone, telling them, my wife, my husband is the best cook. They cooked a marvelous dinner. And you were saying, that's not what you said. You said you hate it. Get off the phone. I thought you hated that. I only told them to make you look good. You see how much I care for you? I'm going to make you look good at my own expense. And I'm sick on my stomach because of the food I ate. He goes to sleep. Nothing happened to his stomach. He sleeps very well. The covert narcissist inside of the house is another individual. And if you are married to the covert, you may find that the covert separate themselves in different parts of the house. And they always have their phone with them because they're triangulating. And when they're triangulating, they're putting another supply on the grid. If they're wealthy, they fly to these different places telling you their business meeting, and they're meeting the supply. They come back home, and it doesn't matter if you love them or not. It doesn't matter if you make love to them. It doesn't matter what you say. Then they do late evenings. They don't come home, and they always tell you how hard they're working, and you can never call them because they said they were so intense. So one day you want to go and give them food, and you find out they're not even in the office. They're not even at the office. And then when you say, honey, where were you? And they say, I was at the office. You said, no, I brought you dinner. I wanted to make sure you ate. So I cooked a homemade meal and I brought it to you. I left. Me and the guys left. Honey, can I have a drink? Can I do anything without you following me? I bet you have someone tracking me. You are always smothering me. You never let me do anything. You never let me be myself. You are insecure. All the things that he feels, she feels, they put it on you. The covert narcissist is very, very insecure. And usually in the love bombing stage, they have told you this horrific statement or story of how the family misused them, how the business deal went bad, how their dad didn't like them, how their dad competed against them. And then they will go to another supply and tell them a totally different story. Or they are with your friends or your family, and the story they told you, they did not tell that supply. And the supply start talking, and you're looking like, who told you that? Your husband told me that. I didn't know he went through so much. And you thinking, I didn't know that either. And so you go and ask him about it. He said, I didn't tell her that. This is what I told her. She add the rest of the stuff to her story herself. Now you're confused. You don't know what to believe. And then the narcissist, the covert, is so charming. They're not argumentative. Many of them are not argumentative. They're real subtle, but they do devious things to lead you to cognizant dissonance. And this cognizant dissonance leads you into confusion because one is here and one is there, and you don't know what to take. You don't know what to believe. So a lot of times you excuse things away. You look up in your life and you have been there for years. Literally for years. Years you spent not knowing that you are with a narcissist. And every time things unfold until one day you wake up because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem right. And finally, you start adding up the pieces. But they are so charming. You forgive easy. And many people that are with the narcissist, that is a covert narcissist, find themselves in prison emotionally for years. And they are so in love until they cannot believe that he's doing what he's doing. And finally, you find out you've been married for 15 years. He's been cheating for 15 years. He's been triangulating for 15 years. You have 2 children, and some of them have children the same age as your children outside of the marriage. And you find out later that they're taking care of the children, and you confront them. And he said, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. I was angry at you. But don't you see? Don't you see I didn't leave you? Don't you see that I love you? Don't you see that they never pulled me away? Because I love you. I just didn't know what to do when I was so angry. I knew I couldn't leave you. And I went to a friend, and they caught me in a vulnerable moment. And I tried to get away, but they said they would tell you. And I didn't want to lose you. You didn't want to lose me so much that a baby will come out of this, or babies will come out of this. And what happened is you are with them for so long until you believe every word. And you don't want to believe 15 years of my life was a lie. And the conclusion is the covert narcissist is brilliant at manipulating. And they stay, it seems like, so humble. And it's not humility. They are aggressive in people pitying them, feeling sorry for them. And they are very, very vengeful. You can't do anything to them, and they don't get you back. And a lot of times, the narcissist will have the spouse believing that they will never cheat. And the whole time, the narcissist is laughing because they're cheating while they're telling you they'll never cheat. And you're looking in their eyes saying, I believe it. I believe you love me. And they say, I do. With everything I have, I love you. And the text is binging, binging, binging on the phone that they now put on silence. And you notice a narcissist never leave their phones. They always have their phones. And then one day they tell you with the phone, you can look in my phone. That is not the phone that the other triangulations will call. It's the phone that they took time because they knew it would come to this. And they haven't answered. Narcissists that are covert are master manipulators. So they contemplate, they plan. Everything is intentional. They build the track and they walk the track. They anticipate what you will ask. They anticipate your insecurity, and they got an answer. It seems like just at the right time. But the one thing the narcissist underestimate is your propensity to think and to calculate and to conclude. Because you'll look back over 15 years and realize you never felt secure. There was always something. After the love bombing, you were so secure. You were so sure. The first year, you had no doubt, and things start to turn when the masks fall off. And then you notice the narcissist has two different characters. The character inside and the character outside. And you notice the character outside, it's a pulling mechanism. It seems like the narcissist is an extrovert, an introvert, drawn away until they get around the crowd and they come alive, because it seems like the crowd love the covert. The crowd believes the covert because the covert has a way of engaging with people that seem so subtle. And even though they seem like they're introverted, they're extroverted. And everybody loves them, except those who knows them. The supply has fallen in love with your husband, with your wife, and they meet them. They crave what you are trying to figure out. And they realize without warning, they was discarded. Like what the narcissists do, covert, overt, it doesn't matter. Malignant, psychotic, doesn't matter. Sociopath, somatic, doesn't matter. They all have a pattern that they fall into. And this pattern will always lead to discard. But a narcissist, especially the covert, never finish. They never close the door. If a covert calls the door, you are useless. But they always come back for more of what they've gotten. And they don't know how to leave it alone. They don't know how to walk away. The covert obsess a lot with their supply because they feed on pity. And so the supply feed them, engage them emotionally. They always look for that mama, that papa that they didn't get or they overgotten or no balance in their childhood. They did what they want. And when a child does what they want and there are no boundaries, they feel like nobody cares for them. Nobody loves them because I can do what I want. And other kids have to be here, be there. They want that, but the parent won't give it to them. Or the parent has totally mistreated them because they's in a narcissistic parents, narcissistic home, narcissistic standard, and is self-indulgent. And the child is just a ploy. The child has become an object of offense. And they grow up with adult issues on a young mind. And they go inside of themselves. Or some narcissists medically, they look at their brain and the place where there's compassion, the place where there should be empathy, something, a mechanism is missing or voided in that narcissist. And then to go under the care of a narcissist, they are unable to care and give compassion and empathy, even though they are a covert narcissist, even though they're not overt, even though they seem charming. There's this malignancy about them. There is this robotic behavior about them. And you say, why don't you care? And he says, and she says, I do. That's why I'm still here. Because I care for you. Because I love you. And you have learned to attach love to pain. Because every time he says, I love you, you know something painful is going to happen after that. Something striking is going to happen after that. And you start living on the alert system because you never know what's going to come after when they give you compassion, when they give you love. And it's nothing like you know. And they're redefining your dictionary in your mind. The covert, which means to cover up, is the narcissist. That is the most dangerous, the most hideous, because they cover up. And all the scars you get, you wear clothing on top of them. Because the narcissist, that is a covert, demands protection. Because what you say is coming out of your house is not what they see on the outside. That charming gentleman, that gorgeous woman who seem to care only to those who don't know them. Because those that know them can register that they are one of the most dangerous walking, breathing specimen when it comes to relationship. This is why the covert is so dangerous. This is why the covert is so hideous. This is why you are on full alert when they're in the house. It's like the walking wolf in the house. But he doesn't growl until after he bites. But he loves and licks you until the bite. And when you scream, you have evidence of the bite. But nobody will ever believe except those who know the covert narcissist. You have to protect yourself. Get away from cognizant dissonance. Believe your truth. When you see it, you have to learn to trust you. Stop being gaslighted and trust what you see. And stop doubting you. And stop allowing people to cause you to doubt you. If you see it, why do you have eyes? If you will say you didn't, Why do you have ears if you say you didn't hear it? You did. Give credit to yourself. You are more powerful than that. If you have to write things down, young lady said something, and she said, write things down so you can separate the event from your emotions. Sometimes you have to separate the event from what you feel, because the event is the reality and the feelings are the deceptions. And if you keep going on the feelings, you'll keep dismissing the event, and the event get greater and greater and more intense until one day you look in your eyes and there's nothing there. There's no you. Who you used to be is not there. They have rewritten every dictionary, every encyclopedia, and the philosophies of your mind. God-given mindsets rewritten, because you can separate the event from the experience, from the emotions. The narcissist that is covert will always cover themselves and leave you out there. And guess what? Most of the people will believe them. And they're the wolf in sheep clothing. And you are the sheep with the wolf. Well, God has given us strength and power. We are so powerful. And whatever he wanted to be, that's what you are. Whatever he wanted to become, he can see it in you. And that's what he goes after. That's his target. Because most narcissists live in the world of make-believe. And they convince themselves of a character. And that character that they convince themselves of becomes their person. And you're watching a movie play out. And sometimes you really get it. And sometimes you really catch it. And sometimes you really understand it. Don't dismiss it. Don't dismiss it. It is the road that gets you to your free place. You are more than what you've become. Remember that. You're powerful. You're strong. And you're mighty. And the covert wish that they had half the stamina. But if you don't convince yourself in the middle of the battle, you will lose yourself in the middle of the fight. And you were made to win. I pray that this gave answers to you. And you know, we can do many other things with the covert narcissist. And as we go along, I will be bringing more information. So make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Push the bell, and every time I upload new information or come on live, and that can be anytime. My regular day is Thursday after my church service, and then I come on. But I will come on anytime, and you will be the first one to get notified. Thank you for liking and sharing the page. And thank all of my subscribers. Those of you who subscribe, you make us work. And you make us work with such effectiveness and so powerfully. Thank you once again. I'm Helen Sadler, your Destiny Helper. If you would like to email me, destinyhelper12s@gmail.com. destinyhelper12s@gmail.com. Those of you, I can do this. The t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, mugs, cups, all of those things will be ready in a few. And then you can put your order in. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. And I'm telling you, no covert can outmatch you as long as you keep your mind on God and keep your mind in the place of power and authority. You will never be destroyed. You will always be upgraded. The covert hide, but your power is exposed. I will see you on the next video. God bless.